Hello, welcome to the weekly outlook. We are live in the DeFi Dojo. Today is August 31st. The month is ending, and if you like this kind of content, please hit like and subscribe. If you want to join the community, the link to the Discord is in the description here. And if you'd like to take the guesswork out of trading, I do have automated trading bots that will trade the market for you. They will trade Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Atom, Link, and XRP, hands-free. So if that's something you're interested in, please hit me up and I'll explain it to you in detail. Let's get going with the charts. What do we got this going on this week? So we got a new month ending, right? New month ending, new month beginning. That's going to increase volatility. It always does. It always will. We're already starting to see that with the quite a decent move already on Bitcoin and crypto. Equities we're off tomorrow because it's a holiday, Labor Day. So we're probably not going to see much movement on them until Tuesday. But tomorrow should be interesting given that we're getting new candles on crypto, right? Now, when we get new monthly candles, we get new daily pivots. So again, I always like to remind everyone, go check your daily pivots. And what those are is pivot points standard. It's just a basic, and this thing never wants to update, just a basic thing you can toggle on and off. And you'll see if I zoom in here, we have brand new pivots to work with. So we got support at 106.8, resistance at 113. Overall, this is bearish on the daily because we are opening up underneath pivot. To be bullish for this month, we need to clear 113.329. If we can clear that, then perhaps we can have a green month. For now, it's looking bearish. I do think personally, in my opinion, please don't do any trading based off of it, but in my opinion, I think Bitcoin has topped. I've been pointing at these bull market targets for 3 years now, and we have been here for a while. I don't know if it's going to make it over this 1.414 mark at 128.5. For me, I'm not going to buy Bitcoin again unless we clear that 125.5 mark, or if we come down to where I think we're going to get in the bear market. So let's go over that, right? So you see this line I have down here, and you're like, yeah, right. I don't think we're going that low, but I have reasons for it, and I can go into full detail about that, but that would take quite a while. Just know that this is where the next Fibonacci line marks for Bitcoin. Every cycle, Bitcoin has fallen a lower fib level. The first cycle, it went to the 236. The second cycle, it went to the 382. Last cycle, it went to the 0.5. And so I think this cycle, it will go to the 0.618 because that is just the regression that we see. It's a pattern that I found. And so I'm going to stick with that until it's broken. Now, in order to see that, you'd have to draw and assume that that's the top. Obviously, that's what I'm doing. I'm assuming that's the top. Now, if it's not, then this line gets stretched a little higher, right? So if I'm wrong and we go a little higher, then I'm going to stretch my line up here further depending on wherever it tops. But I'm seeing some heavy bearish divergence here. 3 points, in fact. Last cycle, you can see we had 2 points that marked the top. There's your bearish divergence on the RSI. Here's the bullish divergence that marked the bottom. This was aiming up. This was aiming down. Momentum came back in the market here. Momentum is leaving the market here. And that's what we're seeing in this case. Momentum is leaving the market as price is trending higher. I'm seeing bearish divergence almost everywhere on big tech, growth stocks, anything of major growth speculation. I'm seeing bearish divergence. So I'm being extremely careful. I'm already very happy with the gains that I've made this cycle. I do not want to risk it on anything else unless I am confident that it will continue. With that said, Bitcoin can meander sideways for a while altcoins and Ethereum continue to go higher. Why do I think this? There's that 618 I was talking about, by the way. So that's why I have that mark there. If we go look at Ethereum, it's got resistance at the 1.414, and you might be asking where that comes from, and I will zoom out to let you know. This is the Fibonacci extensions for the previous cycle's bear market, right? So this is from 2018 to 2019. Drawing that, we haven't hit the 1.618 on that market yet. So here's your consolidation sideways. We need to break that level. If we break that level, we can see a very, very big increase on Ethereum, but it needs to break, right? So far, we're just topping at the same place we topped last cycle, and we haven't even really broken into new all-time highs yet. Yes, we made a new all-time high, but it was very short-lived. So Once Ethereum, and I do think it will, I don't know if it needs to come here and flag for a while first before it breaks out, or if it's just going to find support at 4,100 again and then break out. But really the main level to watch for is this $4,000 mark, specifically 3,950, where the R1 is on the weekly. If we fall below that, then we can break down, and then it can fall all the way back down to this level here. So hopefully that doesn't happen. I'd like to see it find support here. If it doesn't, then we'll likely come test these areas down here again. I would probably be a buyer down here just for speculation purposes to try to get a lower entry to see this move back to the upside. So if we do still come down to that $4,000 level where I was aiming for that week, right, that never quite gave it to me. I explained that in the last weekly outlook. I still haven't bought Ethereum. That's a bearish engulfing candle. So it's likely marking potentially some sort of local top. We had one here that turned out not to be, so, you know, take that with a grain of salt. So if we do get down into this gray zone where I want to buy, I will buy some Ethereum with some tight stop losses, probably around this level here on that candle. Would probably be my cutoff if it fell below there, because then it's likely headed back down here. So hopefully we see the breakout, right? Hopefully we find support here, breakout here, and then where do we go? Way the hell up here, right? So that is a significant increase. If we can break this level, it would be another 80%. I'd be very happy with that. I was already lucky enough to capture 80% from this mark here, up to about, no, I think I nabbed it like right around here and here, and then I was able to take it to 2,500 where I paper handed it and like let it go. Oh, sorry, actually it was here. I'm looking at the wrong dip. So I was able to nab it here, and then I took profits like in this little mess of junk here. I did not buy it back here, and then it took off without me. So I would like to buy it around that level again to take it back up to 87.71. If we look at the ETH Bitcoin chart, we're still holding the 0.5, so all is well here. It may go sideways for a while. We may be in for some boring markets. Hopefully we don't fall back below that 0.5. If we do, 8 EMA is the obvious support. I do think that we'll end up getting up into this golden pocket on the ETH Bitcoin chart eventually. Let's see. Let's look at total. Total 3. Altcoins are still holding the weekly 8 EMA, right? So still hope. Okay, so I'm not writing off altcoins yet. I am writing off Bitcoin. That's the progression of the cycle. Bitcoin first, Ethereum second, altcoins third, microcaps fourth. That's how the cycle goes. So until we get there, I'm still just waiting on Ethereum. Altcoins probably aren't going to make their massive moves until Ethereum's done. That's just the way that it goes. If we look at total market cap, it's kind of a different story. We just closed the weekly candle below the 8 EMA. That's not a good sign. We hit the top trend line. It's also bearishly divergent, majorly. So all signs pointing to a top here. However, altcoins can move even though the total market cap isn't doing much. And that's because it makes up very little of the total market cap. It's like 70 something percent Bitcoin and ETH. And then the other 20 something is the entire whatever million coins we have left over. So USDT dominance broke its downtrend, also a bad sign for crypto overall. But again, this can just kind of go sideways for a while altcoins and the money shifts from one place to another. We don't really need new money in the market to have even a mini alt season. It just has to move from Bitcoin and Ethereum to altcoins in order for that to happen. If we look at the equities market, we're still just sideways at this resistance. I do still think we're going to get a correction here. I'm wrong. If we can break up above the pivot and that trend line right there, then maybe we can see higher. But until then, I still think this is going to roll over and come down. Same thing with the NASDAQ. I think this is going to roll over and come down to some degree. I don't know how much. First place is obvious right here around 22.3 at the R1. And then for the equities market, it's down here at 61.51, 21 EMA maybe. We'll see. But also, like, again, divergent, right? This is definitely trending down. If we look at the NASDAQ, this is definitely trending down for a really long time. So at some point, this thing's going to come down, and where I want to buy it again is obviously like down here. You get this wedge pattern on ES. It's down here at the trend line. So somewhere in this vicinity down here, maybe next year, right? Like these are long-term outlooks. Let's see, what haven't I covered? Tesla is the only thing I kind of like. It broke its downtrend. It's in the greed FOMO zone. I think it could do well even if equities overall don't. I know that sounds surprising because Tesla is historically known to fall down with equities and SPY and stuff. So in order for that to happen, obviously we would need to decouple from this pullback that I think is coming. If it pops up over it, then Tesla should do well. Apple is another one that looks great. Weekly EMAs are bullish again. Google looks really good. Other than that, I don't like any of the other big techs here. Where's Google? Google's making new all-time highs, so it likely makes this move up to the trend line. I'm not sure how much of an increase that would be. Looks like 6% or so. Nothing crazy awesome, but those are the two that I would hold over things like Netflix being this high. What was the other one that was doing really well? Meta. Let's look at Meta. Yeah, also hitting its trend line here, and this isn't like any normal trend line. This is the top trend line from 2018. It's bumping its head against, also very divergent. Look at that downtrend on the RSI. So this is likely going to cave at some point too. And again, this isn't something that I think is going to happen right away. I think this is going to slowly start trickling down, and we're going to have a bear market in 2026. So I think that these have had their day. If it does continue upwards here, 1.618 is the target, really. It's in the take profit zone already. Just because the 1.618 is there doesn't mean it has to hit it. That's the ultimate target when you draw these fibs. It's not one that has to hit. So you want to take your profits at each one along the way. ETH, Bitcoin, I covered that. Ethereum, I covered that. Bitcoin, I'm thinking that's a top. Aiming for this in a year and a half maybe. Bitcoin, NASDAQ. Oh yeah, this is the other big one. So it broke its rising wedge. This is another reason why I think Bitcoin's topped. Historically, when it's broken its uptrend on the weekly chart, that marked the top. Like it was over. And I can go back to each one and show you what that looks like. So here's the uptrend red line from that cycle. As soon as it broke, we were in a long bear market. Here's this one. This is the trend line from this cycle. As soon as it broke, it was a shorter bear market, but it was still the bear market, right? So what you want to wait for now is the green downtrends to break, right? So whenever the green downtrend breaks, we're in a bull market. Whenever the green downtrend breaks, we're in a bull market. And so now we'll wait and see what this one looks like. It's going to be, just a trend line from here that ends up looking something like that. And whenever that breaks is when we want to start looking for Bitcoin again. Right now, what this tells me, because I'm comparing the Bitcoin to the NASDAQ, is my money is probably better off in the NASDAQ than it is in Bitcoin. That just those two specifically. I'm not talking about the entirety of crypto. I'm not talking about Ethereum. I'm not talking about altcoins. Those could still do what we think they're going to do. It's Bitcoin specifically. When we look at Bitcoin dominance, it's still tanking. Almost a month ago now, I pointed out that Bitcoin dominance broke its downtrend. This was the cover photo on one of my videos. So since then, we've been heading down. We want this to continue heading down. Doesn't mean it can't come back up for a retest, right? Like we'll get like a retest of the 8 EMA, maybe the 0.5 here at some point this week, maybe next week. And then altcoins maybe can continue. Maybe then Ethereum can continue. That would create the sideways action that I think we're going to see on Ethereum Bitcoin here. It would create the sideways action that I think we're going to see here. Maybe some downside back down to that target that I want. And then if we look at total 3, I think it'll just keep going sideways here on top of that 8 EMA as it tries to get like a foothold here to get that push up over its previous high. And so that's kind of just what I'm seeing. I don't think we're going to get anything crazy exciting this week other than a little bit of downside overall. And I think it'll be maybe 2 to 3 to 4 weeks before we see some really awesome moves heading into the end of the year to cap off this bull market, equities and crypto. And then 2026, I think, will usher in a bear market. And that's just my opinion. That's what I think is going to happen. I've been thinking that's going to happen for years. I kind of called this entire thing over the last couple of years. And sure, some weeks I've been wrong. Most weeks I'm right. But on the grand macro scale, I've pretty much hit this whole thing head on really well. And if you've been following the Discord for years, you've done really well in the long-term investments channel. And you were able to nab Bitcoin at the bottom with me. Did I sell earlier than the top? Absolutely. I usually do. I don't really try to nail tops. I try to nail bottoms. And that allows me to be flexible when I'm selling near the top. So With that, I will take questions and chart requests. Please drop them in the chat, and I will take a look at your favorite altcoin. Solana. Let's see. Gotta go. My watch list got all messed up. If any of you have ever made the mistake of like accidentally clicking one of these and your whole watch list gets out of order, it's a nightmare. So try not to ever do that. My cat sat on my keyboard and screwed my whole watch list up. So now I had to separate them into equities and crypto. Okay, let's go look at Sol. Okay, so it scares me. I'm not a huge fan because of the obvious looking Wyckoff distribution here. Some people are calling it a Bart Simpson. If you're familiar with those patterns, please, if you're not, look them up. Wyckoff distribution is definitely something you should know. Wyckoff accumulation is definitely something you should know what it looks like, especially on high time frames. So unless we break back over this high really at 295, this is likely topping in this zone here. Solana's already had its bull market, and it's been sideways for a year and a half. So that to me smells like a distribution. Like this is everyone who bought down here taking their profits slowly over time, and it'll eventually make its way back down. Only way that it's risk on is if it breaks that high right there, and then let's see, I don't even freaking know. There's no way it's doing it's. I just find it hard to believe that Sol will go hit this cycle. That would be your first take profit target right there. If it can break that high, and then I would keep my stop loss just underneath that where I entered. And if it doesn't hold its new high, then I'm out again and waiting to short it. Tau. Yeah, man. I'm glad I didn't get back in that. So I drew these lines to make it easy. And I basically said if you can break over one, try to take it to the next line and take your profits. And then if it breaks below, you short it down to the next line. So we're now getting into the territory of shorting this down to the red line again. And let's see, where would that actually happen? I might need volume profile for this. Oh, it's like right here. So see this big valley in the volume profile? If it breaks this level that it's currently sitting at, it will nosedive down to about 280. Right when it hits that cliff. So, and the way I use this is I just try to find the peaks and valleys, and when a peak's entire, what would you call it, mountain, I guess, is broken, then price moves very quickly through these valleys, and it will stop as soon as the next mountain begins, which would be like right around there. Yeah, I don't ever try to take it to the peaks. I just take it to the base of the mountain where the valley starts going up again. And so that would be right around there. So yeah, like 285. So should we break the level we're currently sitting at, 313-ish, 310 I'd call it, and then we can go back to most viewed and look at the constantly needing to update pivot points. See if that's any help. Not on the weekly. Okay, there you go. The daily, we got one. So there you go, 310. So if we close a daily candle below 310.26, that would be my short candidate, right? But see how far below the daily EMA we are here? It's really not a good idea to short something when you're this far away. You want to wait for a retest of some sort. So maybe a couple days, it might try to bounce back up and hit that 8 EMA. Around where the previous S1 pivot is here. So as soon as you see like 320 to 326-ish, that would be where I would want to short that and then try to take this down below and get down to these levels here. And so you can see I have pretty accurate volume profile with these two pivots, so I would use these as confluence. And if we break down below there, we short down to there, take a long bounce back up, and then short it if it breaks back down below there. I hope that helps. Can you explain how you came up with the 582 for Bitcoin dominance? Bitcoin 582. Tell me where you see 582. Or maybe, can you explain that a little more? 582? $58.2. On your weekly uptrend, it broke. Yeah, so on your weekly uptrend, it broke. So I just basically drew this trend line, and then as soon as it broke that, there is where I indicated it and told everyone that I'm seeing the trends bounce, the trends breaking. But then it could come up here and retest before it continues that downtrend. And so if that happens, obviously alts would suffer, Bitcoin, and they all could be going down at the same time that that's happening, right? So it would just be that altcoins would fall a little further than Bitcoin, or we see altcoins kind of go stagnant and sideways and Bitcoin is going back up. And those are the two scenarios that could happen if this is going to come back up and retest this 59.5 mark before resuming the downtrend. It also could come up and hit that 21 EMA and retest this trend break. So we could see a significant move on it before it reschedules its programmed downtrend. I hope that explains what you were asking. I'm not quite exactly sure if that's what you were asking. Let's see if there's a pivot. No, there's not a pivot at 58.2. I'm not sure where you heard 58.2. I don't think I said that. Okay. Dolo. It's another one I haven't heard of. It's brand new. That's why I haven't heard of it. So something this new, and perhaps there's a more chart history on Deck Screener I'm not aware of, but that looks like a bull flag. So that's a nice looking pattern you want to see. And you really just have to use the 4 hour on this because the daily doesn't even have EMAs, right? So you have to go risky with the 4 hour, and then you'll want to measure, the uptrend like this, and it's likely a 236 bounce, which it is. So this level here is what you want to keep an eye on, right in here where the 8 EMA on the 4 hour is. And as long as it holds that, then you can come down to the 1 hour and draw this current downtrend. And just say, okay, if we bounce off of that and break the downtrend, we can try to take this higher. So the other thing that I'm noticing is that we might have hit a top because this looks like, in the take profit zone, if you measure that downtrend. So if you do get this trend break here and we get back up over the 33.68 mark, then you could try to take this long to the 1.618. And there's not really a lot of meat on the bone for that. I mean, 17%, it's not bad, but it kind of looks bearish now that I'm seeing that. So I wouldn't take a chance on it unless it broke 33.68. And if it is bearish and you're thinking about shorting it, it's risky because the EMAs are still bullish on the 1 hour. You'd want to wait at least for the bearish 1 hour to go. And we're breaking that 236. So that first target would be here. Let's bring it down to that one. Okay, so on the 1 hour, you want to see it hold 32.39, right? I don't have any pivots for some reason. And if it fails, then that's going to be your resistance now, and you'll want to use that as your stop, ultimately, if it breaks the trend. And you'll want to take it down to these levels here. So 29.74 for the first short target, 27.75 for the second, 618 for the third. If it breaks above, then you draw the fibs the other way for your targets up there, which would be, you could try this one too if you wanted to. See what that gives you. Yeah, that's already pretty damn topped. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's probably topped. At least short term. And see, it doesn't have to get to the 1.618. It can top at the 1.414, which is where I think Bitcoin's topping, if you draw the previous bear market. And there you go. 1.414. Okay, LDO. LDO. Let's go to a higher time frame. Ugh. So while it closed underneath the weekly 8 EMA, it's an altcoin with low volume, so you can't really count on that too much. So it could be finding support on it right now, and you just don't know. You'd like to see it get back over 125.7 to be more confident that it's going to continue higher. See, the momentum isn't quite there yet. The MACD and the RSI, both those lines need to be up over center, or over 50 on RSI, or over the center mark on the MACD, so it's not quite there. So it could be kind of retesting before it wants to come up and try that downtrend. And then obviously you want that downtrend to break. 0.5 is the obvious resistance there from 2 weeks ago. So I don't know. It's not really divergent. I mean, it is a little bit, not crazy. And it's in a downtrend, so it's a risky one. Link, probably the only other token I would consider buying. And it's still not breaking that triangle, so I'm still waiting. I'm waiting for it to break this really long freaking triangle. This has been going on since 2021, so if it breaks that, sure, I'm hopping in. But until it does, I won't buy again until it hits the bottom of the triangle down near 13 again. All right, anybody else? Going once, going twice. All right, thank you all so much. Oh, we got one more. How did I know? How did I know? I knew he was going to pick that one. For the LOLs, yes. Nope. That's a no. It's a big fat no. Bearish weekly EMAs. I guarantee you it's under pivot. Yeah. So in order to get bullish on this again, we need to break right there. Let's just call it an even $35. Obvious resistance there. And until it can get back above that, it's short to 18 and 14.50. All right. I hope you like that. You probably don't, but I hope you do. All right, guys, thank you so much, and I'll post the recording of this in the Weekly Outlook channel, and I'll see y'all throughout the week. Don't forget tomorrow's a holiday. Don't forget to check your daily pivots on all your charts, and hopefully we get Ethereum to continue while Bitcoin is falling. Have a good one. Bye.